leaving on the table. Yeah, so he's going to pick up everyone.
Once again, if I could ask everybody, inshallah, to remain seated, and if we could have the noise down, please, everyone. Look after the children. There's a lot of noise coming from the sisters' area. If I could request everyone, please sit down. Shukran.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulil Kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's a blessing to be in this gathering. I haven't been in this masjid for a long time. There was a time where I would come, I would teach, and I did lead a few prayers here. That was a long time ago. And seeing the community and how it's changed and how the masjid has changed really puts a massive smile on my face. So first and foremost, thank you so much for making this event happen. Thank you, Mawlana Mujahid, for all the efforts that he's put. It should be Mawlana Mujahid doing the introduction, but he's asked me to do this, and I'm a little bit embarrassed, especially when we have Shaykh Akram, our esteemed guest, who is one of my teachers. I had the pleasure of studying with Shaykh Akram for 2 years through my Hadith studies, my Dawratul Hadith studies, and it was a beautiful journey. And the opportunity to actually present him here is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity. Shaykh Akram, I don't think really needs an introduction. I think we've gotten to a point where any place you go in the world, any Islamic circle, let's put it this way, that you visit in the world, they have heard the name of Shaykh Akram. I myself, when I went to Turkey, my family actually, my parents have moved to Turkey, so when I go there, when you speak to some of the ulama, they say, yes, we've heard of Shaykh Akram. Subhanallah. And I remember when Shaykh Hatim al-Auni, when he came from Mecca, at the time he was the Dean of Hadith of al-Qura University, and he did a joint program with Shaykh Akram, and he said that today you have in your midst one of the greatest Hadith scholars, and that you will only appreciate once you have when you have that taste for knowledge, you're striving, you're working hard, and when you understand what Hadith really is, beyond just some text, and you understand the amount of work that goes into books, writing books about the Hadith discipline, you'll begin to realize what gem we have, with us and in our midst. I remember once even Shaykh Hatim, he said, if you were to dissect Hadith into sections, Hadith would be 100 sections, 100 ulum, 100 ulum, and for that we could spend a whole lifetime. Nonetheless, I think I've gone on too long. What I will mention is Shaykh Akram, he graduated from Nadwatul Ulama many, many years ago. He done his PhD in Arabic in the University of Lucknow. He came here, he became a fellow at Oxford University. He's done many lectures, many seminars. He's written quite a lot of books, mostly in Arabic, but many in Urdu, in Persian, in English. What's very interesting about the Shaykh's work is he writes about Hadith, or he writes about topics in Hadith that we rarely find today. Discussions that are either so old that haven't been tapped into, Shaykh goes into them and explores them and explains them in a manner where you can really see what we say sometimes in the scholarly circles, the kamal of the Shaykh, subhanAllah. The quality and the skill, you can see it coming through his writing, subhanAllah. Shaykh does keep up his Telegram channel where you can actually read some of his works. Absolutely fantastic. Today, however, we will be, inshallah, engaging in a dars from the Shaykh in his Kitab al-Muhaddithat, in which he discusses the female narrators in Hadith. And this is something perhaps many of us may not know. When we think of Hadith, we think of Imam Bukhari, we might think of Imam Muslim. If you're lucky, you might think of Muhammad ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, right? But there are so many hundreds and thousands of female scholars, female narrators that have come, that have contributed to our discipline. And today, inshallah, Shaykh will talk about his book. which is, I think, Sheikh, 43 volumes. Subhanallah. 43, can you imagine? 43 volumes in which he discusses the many female narrators that worked on hadith. Subhanallah. I think I'll leave it there. I don't need to say anything more. We leave it there. I'll give the mic to the Shaykh, and the Shaykh will inshallah begin his program. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون وقال تعالى وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها ثم عرضهم على الملائكة فقال أنبئوني بأسماء هؤلاء إن كنتم صادقين وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد. To respected ulama, dear brothers and sisters, I'm really very pleased to be here with you in this masjid. First time I'm coming here, but alhamdulillah, the welcome I received, it made me so happy. The chairman of the masjid and the imam, Maulana Mujahid, my friend, of course, for a long time, alhamdulillah. And I always receive the news about this masjid, all the time from Maulana Mujahid, mashallah, he has been working very hard. And now I can see the fruit. So many people. It is not a Jummah prayer, it's not a Eid prayer. Usually I expect this number of people when there are Eid prayer or Jummah, but mashallah, this Isham prayer, so many people, men and women both. So it really tells that how much effort has been in this masjid. And even the chairman, he took me and showed me around, even the garden of the masjid and how they welcome everybody. So that I always encourage people. It is not that you welcome only Muslim men and women. The mosque should be a place where you welcome everybody. Jews, Christians, Hindus, Sikhs, people who don't believe, anybody welcome them, because this is the place of guidance. When we open a shop, to do business, to make money, then we don't want to make, a place only for Muslims or only for sectarians, that only Deobandi can come. Do you like that? That my shop only for Deobandi people? We love everybody to come. We love Christians to come. We love Jews to come. We love everybody to come. To remind people about Allah, that is the most important thing. Allah is the Lord of every human being. And the Prophet Muhammad has been sent to every human being. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. So everybody should know about him. Everybody should worship our Lord. So that actually a good thing in this masjid. I heard actually, I was very happy that they welcome everybody. So even, the chairman was saying to me that one day they had an event. And somebody, a professor, she lives next to the masjid. She's an atheist. And she came here and she gave a talk about the masjid. It was actually same talk which Maulana Mujahid has to give. Same details. So you see how people learn. If they are neighbor of the masjid, they can understand the masjid more and more. So alhamdulillah, this is something which other mosques also should follow, where you welcome everybody, men and women, Deobandis, Barelvis, in all sects, and Muslims and non-Muslims, everybody should be welcome. They come and they learn, because we don't hide anything. So alhamdulillah, so first thing actually I'm here, I'm very happy and I'm grateful to the people that they invited me here. What I'm going to talk is about this my book, which I spent more than 15 years to write, and it is about the women scholars of Islam. So 43 volumes, it is all in Arabic, though the preface, the introduction, I did translate in English a long time ago, and it is shorter. So, it is there. So I'll talk about the book, inshallah. But one thing is very important to learn, that this religion is a religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and taught by the messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is seal of all the prophets. There's no prophet after him. There are ulama, scholars. What they do, they teach what he taught. But no alim has authority to change what he has taught. Nobody can change it because he's sealed. Whatever he says religion is religion. And whatever he says not religion, it is not religion. If he says something has reward, it will have reward. If the Prophet Muhammad says something has sin, it will have sin. No alim in the world can say that what the Prophet Muhammad said, it abrogated. Nobody can change it. No alim has authority to change whatever the Prophet Muhammad has taught. That's why Imam Malik rahimahullah ta'ala used to say, كُلٌّ يُؤْخَذُ مِنْ قَوْلِهِ وَيُتْرَكُ إِلَّا صَاحِبَ هَذَا الْقَبْرِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. When people say something, Imam Hanifa said, Imam Shafi said, you can accept it or you can leave it. But the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he says something, you must take it. If people actually reject Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or his teaching, they are no more a believer. He's absolute. He's the last final prophet. There's no prophet after him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So whatever he taught, that is the sunnah. That is the authentic thing. And whatever he rejected, that is rejected. We have no power, no authority to add anything into the religion or to take out. We must take it as it is. We can't change it. One important thing that he did in his life is that his mosque was open for the men and women both. You don't find any single hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, the women are not allowed to come to my mosque. There is no single hadith. Actually, he respected the women so much that he used to make his prayer shorter for the sake of the women. He loved the prayer. He loves prayer so much we cannot imagine. He says, جُعِلَتْ قُرَّةُ عَيْنِي فِي الصَّلَاةِ. He loves the prayer. Aisha said that he used to pray so much that it affected his body. And the Quran said that, oh, the Prophet Muhammad, Allah knows that you stand in the prayer in the night, half of the night, 2/3 of the night, 1/3 of the night. You don't know, but we know, we count. That how he much loved the prayer. When he's the prayer, he's so happy. But what he said, when I come to the prayer and I want to make it longer, then I hear the cries of the babies in the arms of their mothers, so I shorten the prayer. I don't want to disturb the women. You see, respected them. He could say, like we people do, oh, don't bring your children here. If you say to the women, don't bring your children, basically you are discouraging them. Where are they going to leave their children? Means don't come. And one way to say is, don't come. But the Prophet never said to the women, you can come, your children cannot come. No. Why? Because he wants to encourage them. Even if they're crying, still he wants them to the prayer. The women complained to the Prophet ﷺ that when we come to the mosque, there's only one door. The men and women both are crowded. So, it disturbs us. So the Prophet ﷺ did not say the women should not come or women should be less number. No, what he did? He wanted to solve the problem. So he made a new door for the women. Babun Nisa. So the women can come there, men cannot come. The door that was for the men and women both can enter from that. But there is one only for the women. It's still actually crowd. They complain. So what the Prophet said, after the prayer, the men should remain in the masjid. Let the women go first. So they can go easily. Then after that, the men leave. You see? So he always wants to find solution for the people, but he never wants to stop anybody from his masjid. He used to do i'tikaf in the masjid, a very small masjid. The women also used to do i'tikaf. Aisha said that we women did i'tikaf in the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ when he was alive, and when he passed away. We continued doing i'tikaf in the masjid. So his mosque was for the men and for the women both. Now if there are people who say we are going to make a mosque only for women, so what we are going to say? It is bid'ah. Because the Prophet never made a masjid only for women. So making a masjid only for women will be bid'ah. Similarly, some people say we make a masjid only for the men, that also will be bid'ah, because we dividing the people. Jama'ah means unity, where all the believers, men, women, everybody can pray. So when you divide the people, not right. Or you can say the men pray this time and women other time. You dividing. Both of them must pray behind the same imam at the same time, because Jama'ah means unity of all the believers. Dividing the believers is bid'ah. That what bid'ah means? Bid'ah invention. That's why we call ourselves Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. We want to unite people. We want to include everybody. So similarly, wherever the Prophet taught in his masjid, anywhere he taught, men and women both are there. He never said that the men can come, women are not allowed to come. There is no single gathering of the Prophet ﷺ where the women were excluded. Never. All the time men and women are there. That's why in this religion, actually you don't find any religion. In Judaism, Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, in no single religion where the women have played such an important role in the formative period, in the beginning of the religion, as is in Islam. One of the great Imam of Islam, Imam Abu Abdullah al-Hakim al-Naisaburi, he said nearly 1/4 of teachings of Islam, they come from the women. Where they come? From the women. Rest 3/4 they are shared by the men and women. But 1/4 only from women. There are so many hadith only women narrate. In Bukhari, in Muslim, in all the authentic sources, so many hadith only women narrate. There are no men who narrate. Because that's why the Quran said about the Prophet ﷺ, وَذْكُرْنَا مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ. Allah made so many voices for the Prophet ﷺ, so they know really what the Prophet does at home. So they can report to the people. And many things that we do really, they all come from the women. So this is very important to understand. Don't make any division between men and women. Making division, that is the bid'ah, that is invention of the religion. And the Prophet said in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim, one of the most authentic hadith, Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa raddu. Anybody who makes a new thing in the religion, that will be rejected. To say only men can come to the mosque, that should be rejected. To say only women can be to the mosque, that should be rejected. To say only men can learn the Quran, that should be rejected. To say that only women can learn the Quran, that must be rejected. Because both are Quran, so ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun. Everybody should worship Allah. And you can't worship Him unless you learn how to worship Him. If you don't know how to do wudu, you can't worship Him. If you don't know how to pray, you can't worship Him. If you don't understand the Quran, you cannot worship Him. If you don't learn Hadith, how can you worship Him? Everybody needs to worship their Lord with the knowledge. You can't worship your Lord with ignorance. Everybody must learn how to worship their Lord, men and women. So that is very important that we don't make any distinction between men and women. And that how has been the case throughout the history of Islam. As I mentioned in my book, it is only one field of Islam. It is not about Quranic studies. It is not about the fiqh. It is not about Arabic language, literature. It is only about the hadith. And it is the effort of just one person. Now actually got more information. But in this book, nearly there are biographies of 10,000 women. When I was working and I mentioned to Shaykh Qardawi some of the stories of the book, because I went to Qatar, then Shaykh Qardawi invited me, rahmahullah ta'ala, and he asked me to give a speech in his masjid in Arabic. And then he asked me that, all these things, I don't know. I never actually learned. When are you going to publish your book? So I said, still, the research is going on, Shaykh. You make dua. The Shaykh said, no, I'm asking you, stop it and just publish it. Otherwise, you're never going to finish. Leave all other research. Then I gave a talk in the University of Qatar. So in front of the professors and all this thing. And then I mentioned that, I really wanted to continue, but Shaykh Qardawi has asked me to stop. So now I'm going to stop. So one of the professors said to me, to the audience, this is also men's conspiracy against the women. They don't want more research. And actually, nearly after this book, I got nearly 2,000 more names of the women. I can add easily two more. Means there's so huge number of the women. You cannot imagine how many women are learned. One of the great historian and muhaddith of Islam, Ibn Najjar, the one who wrote the completion of the book of Tariq of Baghdad in the 6th century of Hijrah. Imam Zahabi and all the people say among his teachers are 400 women. How many women? 400. If one person can get 400 women teachers, imagine really how big, how great is Muslim society. How many learned women are in Muslim society? One person can learn from 400 women. Just imagine. One of Imam Bukhari's teacher, his name is Imam Muslim Ibn Ibrahim al-Farahidi, not the Imam Muslim who wrote Sahih. This another Imam Muslim. He is the teacher of Imam Bukhari. His name is Imam Muslim Ibn Ibrahim al-Farahidi from Basra. In his biography, everybody writes that he studied Hadith with 70 women only in the city of Basra. One person. 70 women. Shaykh Farhan mentioned Imam Zuhri. Imam Zuhri had many women teachers. Many men. And he's one of the great tabi'in. People say, A'alamu tabi'in. Among all the tabi'in, the most knowledgeable person, Imam Zuhri. Died in the year 124 or 25, people differ. He is the most knowledgeable person. And he is to study even with the women. Ibrahim ibn Sa'ad al-Zuhri said, I asked my father that you and Zuhri used to study together. Bima faqakum Zuhri. How it happened that Zuhri excelled, he left you behind, he became so excellent. You and Zuhri were in the same classroom, studied with the same teachers, and both are from Banu Zuhra. So Ibrahim Sa'ad's father Sa'ad and also Imam Zuhri, both are from the same tribe, same family of Quraysh, but one is so famous, one nobody knows. So he said, I asked my father, Bima faqakum Zuhri. How is it that Zuhri becomes so excellent? He said the reason is whenever we and Zuhri used to come to the class, Zuhri used to make effort to sit in the front of the teacher. And then when the teacher has gone, Zuhri would discuss all those hadiths with everybody in the class, with the men and with the women. It means the class used to be men and women both. That's what I said. The Zuhri would discuss the hadiths with all the men and women of the class when the teacher has gone. And then Zuhri will go to every house in Medina and meet people, ask, did your father teach any hadith? Even he used to meet old women in the house, young ladies. And Arab culture has been when the girls have reached the age of the marriage, now they're going to get married, so they keep them in hiding somewhere. Rabbatul Hudur, they behind curtain, so people can't see them before the marriage. Zuhri used to manage even to meet those young girls and learn from them. That was such a hadith says. That's what the story says. Even he used to make effort to go and meet those young girls and discuss with them how learned those women have been. That you see, that how Zuhri becomes so excellent. Now we in South Asia, India and Pakistan, actually in this country there are many mosques where women are not allowed to come and pray. But in Islam really there is no single mosque, but you will find many women, not only they used to pray, they used to teach there. Which are the best mosques in Islam? The mosque, Baytul Haram, the Makkah, Kaaba, that's the most important, Al-Masjid Haram. The second one is the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. And the third one is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Sheikh Mujahid has been there twice in 1 year. So you hear from all the stories. Ask him, you people know really, all three mosques, don't you see the women there? They are the most sacred mosques. But I am going to tell you something more. In this most sacred mosque, the most important place what you can see, in the Kaaba, in Masjid Haram, the most important part is the Kaaba. Kaaba has got Hatim. Do you know Hatim? This wall. That also part of the Kaaba. But the Quraysh did not have enough money to build the Kaaba on the foundations of Ibrahim, so they left this part. You can't do tawaf from inside. You have to do tawaf from tawaf must be around the building of Ibrahim. And Hatim is part of the building of Ibrahim. And that's why when Aisha narrated the hadith, that the Prophet said, O Aisha, had your people not been new in Islam, I would have made a house, reconstruct the house of Allah on the foundations of Ibrahim, including the Hatim. Then Abdullah Umar said that explains the meaning, because the Prophet only used to touch two corners of the house, Rukn Yamani, both Rukn Yamani, but Rukn Iraqi and Shami, he never did istilam. Reason is because they are not built on Ibrahim's foundation. That makes very clear to me that why. So that is part of the Kaaba. In this hadith, and my teacher Mawla Nadwi rahimahullah used to say, there is the hikmah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If a Quraysh would have built the old Kaaba like as it is now, no Muslim would be going to the Kaaba. Now Hatim is left, anybody can go and pray there. So every Muslim can pray inside the Kaaba. This Hatim is part of the Kaaba. This is part of the foundation of Ibrahim. There have been many women teaching Hadith inside Hatim. They used to teach and men used to learn, and details are in this book. You can see their biography. They used to teach where? In Hatim. You make a mosque in Bangladesh and India and Pakistan and you say women cannot come. Here is the most sacred place in the world. That is the Kaaba itself. The women not only pray there, they teach there. And people who study there in the class, attend the lectures, they are mostly ulama, qadi, judges, people of the hadith. Nobody has problem. They love that. It's part of the tradition. Nobody says how women can teach there. Nobody has problem. So this is where Kaaba. In the Kaaba, you find women teaching hadith. Now, what is the second most important masjid? The mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. What is, if people, for example, if you go there and you are asked, you go and take any place in the masjid, which one most people prefer? Next to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. Everybody will love to be there. You can't stay there, but if you are left there, you will be there. Many women used to teach hadith sitting next to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. We can't go there even. But these women used to teach there. Imagine really how much love, respect was for the women there. One of the great muhaddith, he wrote on hadith, on Bukhari, everything, Rashid al-Sabti. He has written his traveling, he came from Morocco all the way to Makkah. He wrote down all the details. So he said when he came to Medina, he found out that one of the great experts of the hadith, her name is Fatima al-Batayahiyya. Fatima al-Batayahiyya, she died in the year 711 of Hijrah. He said, I came to Medina, found out that she's teaching hadith in the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. So I was happy because she's from Syria. I have to go there. Now she's already in the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. So I went to learn from her. When I went to see where she is there. She was sitting where? In the masjid, next to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ. If you get a place next to the grave, even on the feet of the Prophet ﷺ, you'll be happy, isn't it like that? If they give you a place near the feet of the Prophet ﷺ, will you not be happy? Where she was sitting opposite of the head of the Prophet ﷺ, not legs, the head. And then Ibn Rushd said, whenever she became tired, she would lean to the wall of the grave, like that. You see, the wall of the grave. Nobody can. That's how she used to do, teaching hadith. And at the end of the class, she would write ijaza certificate for every single person with her own hand. A lady sitting next to the grave of the Prophet ﷺ teaching hadith. And among the books that she taught is Sahih Bukhari. Because she has got a very high, the highest isnad of the Sahih Bukhari in the world. She has got. So she was teaching Hadith Sahih Bukhari because she got Hadith Sahih Bukhari from Al-Husayn ibn al-Mubarak al-Zabidi. He is the teacher of Hajjar. So now our isnad of Sahih Bukhari, all the people in the world, the most high one go through Al-Hajjar. Al-Hajjar heard the whole Sahih Bukhari in the year 630 of Hijrah. And last time when Hajjar taught the whole Sahih Bukhari was 730. Between his study of Sahih Bukhari and between last teaching, 100 years. So he lived more than 100 years. That is recorded. And dates are known because when he attended the class, it all written down at the end of the book. So, one of the muhaddith, Ibn Nasr al-Din al-Dimashqi, he wrote a book, Al-Intisar li-Sama'il Hajjar, where he brings all the documents that Hajjar attended all the classes of Zabidi when he came to Baghdad, to Damascus to teach. He was from Baghdad, but he came to Damascus and he taught Sahih Bukhari twice. That why there's so many people from Syria, their isnad became very, very high. To the highest isnad in the world became, for Syrian people, because the Zabidi, he came to Damascus and they arranged, Sahih Bukhari twice to read with him. Once in Jami' al-Umayyah and once in Al-Jami' al-Muzaffari in Qasiyun. Twice they made arrangement for Sahih Bukhari. And many men and women both learned. One of the lady who learned from Al-Hajjar, her name is Aisha bintu Ibn Abdul Hadi al-Maqdisiyya. She died in the year 816. All the historians say in the world that Aisha al-Maqdisiyya was the last person to narrate Sahih Bukhari and many books of the Hadith from Hajjar. There were no men and no women alive when she died. She was the last person among all the men, among all the women. Now our isnad of Sahih Bukhari is high because of Aisha. The Prophet ﷺ, the books written on his hadith, there are many, but as you know, the most sound book is Sahih Bukhari. Imam Bukhari died in 256. And now what is the calendar now? 1444. Is it like that? To nearly 1200 years on the death of Imam Bukhari, 1200 years. Because of Aisha, we got a isnad between us and Bukhari, only 14 people. 1200 years, only 14 people. She made the isnad of Sahih Bukhari highest in the world. You go anywhere, you can't find really. I visited this person in Syria, to Muhammad ibn Abdul Razzaq al-Khatib, and then I got many other people similar to him. So so I got ijazah from him. Muhammad, you can count the number. Only 14 people between us and Imam Bukhari. Muhammad ibn Abdul Razzaq al-Khatib and many others. And he got from Abu Nasr al-Khatib. And he got from Abdullah al-Talli al-Shami. He got from Abdul Ghani al-Nabulsi, great faqih and Sufi and Arif Billah. And he got from Najmuddin al-Ghazi. Najmuddin got the whole Sahih Bukhari, many things from his father, Badruddin al-Ghazi. And he got from Abu al-Fath al-Mizzi al-Iskandari. And he got from Aisha bint Ibn Abdul Hadi. She is the one who made all this very high. And she got from Al-Hajjar, Abu al-Abbas Ahmad ibn Abi Talib al-Hajjar. And Hajjar got from Abu Abdullah al-Husayn ibn al-Mubarak al-Zabidi. And he got from Abu al-Waqt al-Sijzi. And Sijzi got from al-Dawudi. Al-Dawudi got from Sarakhsi. And Sarakhsi got from Farabri. Abu Abdullah Muhammad ibn Yusuf ibn Matar al-Farabri, 14%. And he got from Bukhari. Only 14 people between us and Imam Bukhari because of this lady who? Aisha bint Ibn Abdul Hadi. Wow. She was not an ordinary person. People who have gone to Syria, Maulana Mujahid has been, he knows there. So in the Jami' Banu Umayyah, they have got a dome that's called Qubbatul Nasr. Do you know Qubbatul Nasr? Qubbatul Nasr. Tradition in Syria has been that the person who is the most important teacher of Sahih Hadith, he will teach underneath of Qubbatul Nasr. The most important person. It was a post, people get salary for that, payment for that. You teach there and it's a government job. You teach well. Among the women, the only one person who we know really, she was appointed to teach under Qubbatul Nasr is Aisha bint Ibn Abdul Hadi. And she used to get money. Do people give somebody salary if they are not qualified to teach? In whole Syria, she was the most qualified person to teach Sahih Bukhari. Other books of the Hadith were underneath of Qubbatul Nasr. And among her students are people who are, among them are Hafiz Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani, the one who wrote the most important commentary of Sahih Bukhari. He himself has written, I came to Syria and studied with Aisha how many books of hadith? When we go, you must have heard the name of Shaykh Yunus. People in India and Pakistan, Muhaddith and all that, how many books they teach? Few books. Now you got some people are students of Sheikh Farhan, they're going to doing dawra, to ask them how many books they are going to read. 4, 5, 6 books of hadith that they're going to read. When Ibn Hajar came to study with Aisha bint Ibn Abdul Hadi, do you know how many books he studied with her? 70 books.
Allahu
And it all written. So I got in this book, it all referenced properly are there. He read 70 books with one lady, Ibn Hajar.
Subhanallah.
He is from Egypt. They are learned people. He comes to Syria, studied with one lady, 70 books of hadith. And not only actually, Aisha. In Syria, before Aisha, there was somebody, Zainab bintul Kamal. Who is that? Zainab bintul Kamal. She died in there 740. Imam Zahabi is her student. Imam Zahabi said the books of the hadith that Zainab used to teach, they are how many books? Load of a camel. How many books you can carry on a camel? That was how he described it. He said load of a camel. Then in my book, I started looking really what are these books are. I looked for the titles. They are 400 books that one lady Zainab bint Kamal taught. And some of the very big Abu Dawud and this and that, and some are small, 400 books of the hadith. We should be grateful to the women. We should respect them really. There are many books of the hadith in the world. They only survived because the women taught them. Otherwise, they will not. People don't have isnat for them. I said, what is the most important book of hadith? Bukhari. The highest isnat for Sahih Bukhari from women. Actually, the most sound copy of Sahih Bukhari from women. Her name is Karim al-Marwaziyya. Everybody says the most Sahih copy of Sahih Bukhari, Nuskha is Nuskha of Karim al-Marwaziyya. So even Sahih Bukhari, actually in the world, if you want to find the best copy, that's a lady. She wrote. And then people used to come and learn from Imam Khatib al-Baghdadi and other people. So that actually how has been, the favor of this. Anyway, I don't want to make very long, and then you have time for question answer. But I just tell one story, because the stories are hundreds and thousands, because I wrote all these books. This Masjid, most people are from South Asia are Hanafi, so I will tell a Hanafi story. So people think, don't think that Hanafis actually don't, the Hanafi women did not do anything. One of the Hanafi scholars, he wrote actually a biography of Hanafi Fuqaha of Central Asia. And he said the women in our area are so much learned that when a fatwa is issued, fatwa is signed by the man and then his wife, his daughters and sisters. One man and so many women signed the fatwa. That's how fatwa used to come. So in that one he has written, so not only him, actually many people, and I wrote the biography of that lady in big detail. One of the great faqih of Central Asia is Allama or Imam Alauddin al-Samarqandi. He wrote a book, Tuhfat al-Fuqaha. This is one of the most important texts in Hanafi madhab. Tuhfat al-Fuqaha by who? By Allama Alauddin al-Samarqandi. He was in the 6th century of Hijrah, 500 something, that he died. After the Prophet, year 500 something. He had got a daughter. Her name was Fatima al-Samarqandiyya. She learned the hadith and fiqh from her father. She knew the book of her father by heart. Fatima. This Tuhfat al-Fuqaha, big thing really. If you memorize Quran and hadith, it is easier. But to memorize the book of the fiqh and a big book, like Tuhfat al-Fuqaha, is not easy. She knew it by heart. Then there was somebody else, his name is Kasani, Imam Kasani. He came and studied with Alauddin al-Samarqandi. After the study, he found out about his daughter. So he asked the teacher, can I marry your daughter? The teacher said, no, you can't marry her because she is more learned than you. Only condition is you write a commentary on my book, and if I pass the commentary and I think it is right, then you can marry her. So then Kasani spent few years to write commentary on Tuhfat al-Fuqaha, and that actually is Badai' al-Sana'i. Maulana Rashid Ahmad Gangohi in India used to say the best Hanafi book is Badai' al-Sana'i. The best Hanafi book has been written for what purpose? Just to marry women. The Hanafi people hate women, and they don't understand their best book is written just to marry women. And then the teacher saw it, said, yeah, it is worth. And then he married his daughter to him. And that's why the historians say, شَرَحَ تُحْفَتَهُ وَتَزَوَّجَ بِنْتَهُ. He wrote commentary on his Tuhfat al-Fuqaha and got and married his daughter. You see, this is the best book in Hanafi Madhab is written just to marry women. That's the history. He must have some sincerity, otherwise the book survived. But I'm trying to say we should not hate women. The Prophet said, the women have been made beloved to me, and now all the Hanafis, all over the world, they hate women. You see? And the best book is just because of the women. Anyway, then Qasani was invited to Halab to teach there. He came with his wife, taught. People who are students of Qasani, Ibn Adim al-Halabi, he himself writes, we used to attend the class of Qasani, and sometimes we ask question, Qasani does not know the answer. So Qasani will say, okay, wait. The one who wrote the best book in Hanafi Madhab, he does not know the answer. He would say, wait, and then he would go and come back with the answer. Few times happened, then we found out actually he goes to his wife and asks her. She knew more than him. And there are actually records that there are many things where she differed from him and she knew more than him. So anyway, this really is a rich history. Alhamdulillah, in the book is here. In English, I got just an introduction one in volume, and the books are here in Mawla Mujahid. We're going to display somewhere, inshallah. So, alhamdulillah, first time I came to meet you. I don't want to make you tired and bored with all this information. So now, if you have any question, please ask.
Jazakumullah khairan. So, alhamdulillah, like I said, there's a lot of beautiful stories from the books. And the Shaykh carries on. I think the audience is ready to listen to the Shaykh, inshallah ta'ala. Anyway, now we'll open the doors for questions, inshallah ta'ala. So brothers and sisters, you have a mic as well. And this is your show, to be honest with you. The Shaykh is talking about women and women contribution specifically. So any question, inshallah ta'ala. First of all, the first round of question, I want everybody to stick to the topic. Muhaddithat and women's contribution, or anything that comes in your mind. Then those kind of questions, inshallah. Then I'll ask you, then you could ask the general questions. So go ahead, please. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. Go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. Shaykh, at least it's not clear to me from your speech and from what I've heard about al-Muhaddithat. What's your line of, why did you decide to write this book? Was it just to amass history which could be useful for one purpose or another, or do you have a particular angle on it? Is it because perhaps women are being celebrated more, women's agency, women's rights in this particular time, so it would be received better, or speaks to a particular issue, speaks to our time? Does that make sense?
So the question is about why?
The question is, what motivated you to write the book on women? Is there any particular angle or just any?
Thing really is, it was a very simple thing. Nobody asked me to write. It was not a project that somebody approved it. It came to my mind. I did it myself. Nobody even spent any money. So people said to me that you are feminist, you support the women. I said, but women did not give me any money. I wrote all this book published actually. No man actually gave anything, no women. I wrote whole book actually, spent so much time. No single person actually supported me in anything. So I said, I wrote for the sake of Allah. So, and Allah does not make difference between men and women. Simple thing actually what happens, a very simple story. People will not believe. One day I was reading a newspaper in Oxford, the Times. And there was an article about women in Islam. And it was very negative. That Islam is the one wrong the women, and the women are backward in Islam because of religion and all those things. They are not learned. And second, the same thing. So I said, actually, I know in Hadith there are many women learned. If I can collect their biographies, so at least it will be answer to this type of the article, and also it will be encouragement for Muslim women. So I was thinking really like to write one volume, few 20, 30 women. I didn't have so many women in the mind. That's how it started. But when I started, it kept growing, actually never ending. That I say those. So that's how it basically came. It was just in response to an article. And then what happens, I remember, once I was doing my work, so there was a professor in University of Oxford. He was my friend. He came to me and he showed me writing of an Orientalist in Oxford, who wrote actually his book that in Islam the women never have been learned. If Muslim men can present to us only 5 women, we can believe that there have been learned women as well. And he said, now you got so many thousand women, who's going to reject it? If there are few women, 10, still people can doubt. Thousands of women, 10,000 people, who's going to doubt? So Alhamdulillah, that's how the work became known, and then some people start writing about that, and then published finally. So, but reason really was very simple, just to answer this article. That was. So reason never has been to support the women or support the men. It actually the reason was to support Islam. That this religion is a religion of justice, fairness to everybody. That was the reason. So whenever I said to you, my intention really is to bring people back to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. If the Prophet encouraged men and women both, why should we distinguish? Why should we make a problem? So this actually making women away from learning. I remember when I published the English version, so there are some my ulama friends from Leicester. They said to me that you should not do this thing. There are enough men, learned men. Why women should learn anyway? If they want to know, they can come to the men. And you should not write this book is going to corrupt and this and that. I said the book is there. If there any problem to in reference, you are on. You can tell me. They said no, we don't have problem with the reference, but we don't want women to become mufti and faqih and alim. But I don't know why they don't want it. When in our history they have been. Yes. Similarly, I gave a talk in Blackburn in the Masjid, one Masjid, the whole day course on this topic. Then at the end, the Imam came to me and asked me to come with him in a private place. So I went, left the audience, the people are there. He asked me to go somewhere else. And then he said to me, teach whatever you like, but don't teach that women can come to the mosque. So I said, what's the problem with that? It is all in the book. Actually, later on I wrote even a book on this topic. He said, no, we are not going to read the book, but we don't want women to come to the mosque. So teach whatever you like, but don't teach this thing. This actually what happening. To you people have no idea how much problem has been there. People call me feminist. Actually, so when my book was published in English, many feminists, they came to meet me from everywhere. When the book came, all became quiet. Why? Because actually the preface of the book is against them. The whole my idea goes against feminism. I'm also writing for a long time a book on feminism anyway. The I'm not supporting feminism. My way is really just I want to bring justice to the women as it was in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. That's all. We don't want to leave the Prophet ﷺ. We don't want to leave his Sunnah. So we want to be on the Sunnah. Whatever women got in the Quran, the Sunnah, same thing we want to support. So anyway, your answer to your question is, I wrote this just in response of this article in the Times.
Yes, go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Once again, sisters, if you have any question, you could text me. Some of the sisters they know, like our Fridays. Or alternatively, there's a mic there. Please just take the mic and ask the question directly. Go ahead, please.
Assalamu alaikum. So we know about free mixing in Islam. So I want to understand what was the structure. So when they would learn from the women, would there be a curtain? Would there be some sort of barrier? Would there be mahrams present? And another question is when the women would travel, so lots of scholars have to travel to go to learn from different people, would their men travel with them? What would be the support from their family? And any comment on that?
So the question the brother asked was, this is for the benefit of the sisters. The first one is that he's asking about segregation, about the whole rules of hijab, especially women teaching. Secondly, women need to travel as well. So when they should travel, with their mahram should travel with them as well.
One thing we don't understand really, that Islam has got a difference between a private space and a public space. We never understand properly. Private space means where the women are in the women or with the mahram or with their husband, like in the house. They are in their normal clothes. Public space means when the women go outside to attend a classroom, to pray in the masjid, to walk in the streets, to travel. Then Quran has commanded them to put on a jilbab. So when they put on jilbab, they become eligible to use public space. So that how it used to be. That's why the Prophet ﷺ, when he encouraged the women to come for Eid prayer, some women said, we don't have jilbab. So the Prophet said, okay, those who don't have jilbab, they borrow from the one who has got jilbab. So he solved the problem like that. So if women are in a public space, then you don't need barrier is when the women are private space. So that's why Quran said that إِذَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُنَّ مَتَاعًا فَاسْأَلُوهُنَّ مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ. When women are in the house, they're in private space. Now men are not allowed to enter there or see them because in their normal clothes, maybe head is not proper covering. Men need to have hijab. Their Quran says, فَاسْأَلُوهُنَّ. Men make sure that you are behind the curtain. When women leave the house, now they're in jilbab. Now they don't need hijab. So this is very strangely, the women come in jilbab, still you need to make a barrier. That's why jilbab is. And there's no need for jilbab. Jilbab is to use public space. In the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no barrier at all. Actually, it was so much the story in the books of the Hadith that men used to have clothes which are not very, very proper clothes. So sometimes, this is a lot of many men go inside there and their private part is, uncovered. Isn't like that, Mona? So one day, the Imam in Oxford, he made an announcement that when you come to the masjid, wear your trousers properly, otherwise your prayer becomes invalid, and those who see you, their prayer become makruh. I was thinking, what is happening? How it become makruh? But anyway, that's what I said. That how the companions, and many of them, they did not have enough clothes. So when they used to go inside their private part used to become uncovered. And the women complained to the Prophet ﷺ that when they are inside our eyes fall in the part. Means there is no curtain, no barrier. So did the Prophet say the women need a barrier? Make something between men and women? Make a wall something? No. What he said? He said the women remain inside until the men have got up. So then their eyes don't fall. One of the young boy, he mentioned his story, he became big later on, that my tribe was on the road where the companions used to pass. And my tribe was not a Muslim. But I love the Quran. So whenever they used to come, I used to learn Quran from them. Then my tribe became Muslim. So the Prophet asked, among all you who know the Quran most, they said, this young boy, the Prophet said, okay, make him Imam. He became Imam. So when he became Imam, he was from a poor family, did not have enough clothes. So when he used to go inside again, his bike is, private part is uncovered. So what the women said to the people, Waru anna awrata imamikum. Cover from us the private part of your Imam. Because, our eyes fall on that. So did the people say, oh, women should not come here or make a barrier? No, what they said? They collected money and they bought new clothes for him. Young boy from a poor family get new clothes, how happy he'll be. He said, I became so happy after Islam, I never have been so happy. That has to be. You can find it. The Bilal is collecting money, from the women, and he describes the women who looks like what? People, they used to be there. Because once they are jilbab, it is a public, they can use they can go on bus, they can go on the train, they can go for shopping, they can go anywhere. There is a difference like that. I was in Turkey, so somebody asked me that a alim on TV has given fatwa that if a woman is in the lift, men are not allowed to be in the same lift. Because, men and women can't be in the same place. So they asked me, I said, you don't understand. Lift is a public space, not a private space. The women who come into lift, they should be in jilbab. A public space, anybody can use. Any man or woman can use. So they explain properly, they become very happy. They say, can you say this thing on the TV so people understand? I said, no, I don't go to, I'm not Imam of TV, but I teach you, and you can, teach people. That's big problem for the people. Think really, the women got all the jilbab, still they carry curtain with them. So if they come to the masjid, they make curtain, they go to shopping, they make curtain between them and the seller. Just they need a jilbab. Once they got the jilbab, then they are eligible to use any public space. And if you look even in this book, you find really, at the end of the class, they used to write down the names of all the people who used to attend the class. Men and women both, mixed. The person who writing means he knows everybody. He can see everybody. Not only that, sometimes they write, this lady was sitting in the class and her baby started crying. So she left the class and she missed from this hadith to this hadith. This person who's recording, he knows everybody when they leave in the class. And sometime in the class, there used to be hundreds of the people. One of the ladies, she came from Syria to teach in Masjid Aqsa. And they record the names that people came to learn from her. There are 396 names. I written in this book, 396. And the person who's writing the name, he said, there are many more, I missed them. And they name all the men and women. That's how I got all the names. All there really. The truth really, Islam wants modesty, haya, But at the end of the day, men and women both are the same thing. If they sit together at the prayer, tell me where is the most crowded gathering? Tawaf. Do you have barrier between men and women in tawaf? Can you do tawaf without being pushed by a woman? Can a woman do tawaf without being pushed by a man? If Islam allows tawaf in the most sacred masjid, tell me if in a classroom men and women sit nicely on their chairs or like this way sitting, then what the problem with that? If tawaf can be allowed, what this problem is? This reminds me of a story of my friend Ahmad Ashur, Shaykh, you have met him. So Ahmad Ashur mentioned to me, he's a Shafi. The Shafi people say, if man is touched by a woman, or woman touched by a man, their wudu becomes invalid. They have to do wudu again. Now think really, if you follow if you become Shafi, that what proves the Hanafi madhab is the best madhab. Hanafi people can do tawaf and their wudu is still there. You see, that means Hanafi madhab can last anyway. So now Shafi people have problem. Because when they do tawaf, they're touched by a woman touched by a man. If they leave all this, go and do wudu, again they never can complete tawaf. All the time problem. So now Shafi Mufti have given fatwa, you can do Hanafi madhab. That when in tawaf, you follow Hanafi madhab. Don't worry, just follow Hanafi madhab. So Ahmad Ashur said to me that one of the Shafi faqih, he said, no, I'm not going to follow Hanafi madhab. I am the strict Shafi, I want to follow Shafi madhab. So he put on, all the covering and even gloves on the hand, so no woman can touch him. He's doing tawaf. And when he was in the 5th or 6th round, an Egyptian lady came to me and said, oh, you are Shafi. And then she put her hand on his forehead. So you see, just imagine really, the gathering that you see in the tawaf, you never can say even. So what the problem is, the people actually sit in the classrooms properly. Some people say that, maybe men and women fall in love with each other. So I said to the problem, really, don't you think that used to happen at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? They come to the mosque, they fall in the love, then they get married. Falling in love is not haram. Haram is not to get married and following the desire by people. That is one good thing. That's why Hassan ibn Ali used to say, make your daughters and sisters to appear to the men of their age, so their love can fall in their heart, they marry them. That's how it should be. This is one of the marriage. If it is not like India, Pakistan, in the villages where people used to marry without seeing. Now nobody follows that. In this country, if you really want to get married, one way is that people meet. So if they meet in a right place, what the problem with that is? And actually, that used to happen. Abu Bakr Abdul Rahman al-Bakr, he fell in love with someone, and then Umar Khattab married him with that lady. He did not say falling in love with haram. He was a great muhaddith. He mentioned his own story. He was a very rich family from Central Asia. And his father used to send money to him all the time. But money was very late. He didn't get on. He asked his teacher, I didn't get my money. Can I borrow money from a rich person? And then I return him back. Sheikh said, yeah, I've got a friend who's very rich. He'll give money. So Sheikh said, took his student. They went to the house of this rich person. He was a female servant, asked her to bring the money, and he got the money. And when he's coming, his face is different. Sheikh said, what happened? You got the money? He said, I got the money, but my heart is attached with the lady, the young girl. Her love has fallen in my heart. Sheikh said, okay, come to the rich man. And then he said that, this my student fell in love with the girl. Okay, I give him the girl as well. And married, whatever happened. So this thing really, people used to find solution. I don't understand why you don't want to follow halal way. So just understand properly. If you stop halal way, then door of the haram will be open. Whatever Allah has made halal, that should remain halal. And whatever Allah has made haram, that should be made haram. Don't make halal haram just because of doubts. Imam Hanifa, Imam Malik, everybody has been saying, don't make anything haram just because of the doubts. You are not, because we are not a lawmaker. Law is for Allah knows really what will happen. And problem also will happen. Didn't actually zina happen at the time of the Prophet ﷺ? Tell me what can be worse than that? Did because of zina, he stopped the women coming to the mosque? Actually, hadith in Muslim and many books of the hadith is that the Prophet ﷺ was there. A young man comes to him and said, I was in my shop, and a young lady came and I kissed her in my shop. Tell me, if a shopkeeper kisses a woman in Karachi, what will happen? All the shops will be burnt. Many protesters. Some people will die. In Lucknow, Dhaka, same will happen. Here actually, in the time of the Prophet, a man kisses a woman. He comes. He says, the Prophet turns his face. Then he comes. This time, the Prophet does not say anything. Because the Prophet wants to see that he is really regretting. And then they went for the prayer. And then after the prayer, the Prophet said, where is the man who asked me this question? The man said, here I am. The Prophet, did you pray behind me? He said, yes. The Prophet said, don't you know, innal hasanat yudhibna sayyi'at. Good deeds, they remove the bad deeds. He became so happy. He said, oh Allah's Messenger, is it only for me or for everybody? The Prophet said, no, it is for everybody. So Allah has made solution. One of my teachers used to say that we Muslims are like that. If the injured, finger becomes injured, what we do? Cut the finger. Why can't you cure the finger? If because of the women you have got a problem, why you don't solve the problem? Why you say no, women should not come? No, they should come, and at the same time make effort to be pious. Like Quran said, tell the believing men to lower their eyes and tell the believing women to lower their eyes. Quran does not say stop them. Quranic solution is no, they should come, they should meet, but with a proper, a way of meeting. That some rules. If they follow the rules, that's what Quran says. And sometimes they will not follow the rule. Then there will be a problem. Then you have to solve the problem. Repentance and this thing and that thing. So try to understand really that it is forcing. And if women don't see the imam, they can't pray behind. That's why people in the past used to say between rows and between other rows there should be no barrier. Otherwise they will not know what imam is doing. If imam does a mistake, in the second rakah instead of sitting, he stands up. Still he can pray. He will do sajud. People who see him, they will follow. But those who don't see him, what they think? They think imam is sitting. You can't follow imam if you don't see him or you don't see the row ahead of you. So between any rows, there should be no barrier. Women should be able to see men's rows and men should be able to see imam. Otherwise, people never can follow.
There are loads of questions coming from the sisters. What do you think the main reasons for the decline in female scholarship these days? We still have hundreds of alimat, fadilat graduating from madaris every year, but they do not progress into takhassus level like ifta, like men. Is this a cultural problem, Sheikh?
I don't think really either. It is not enough that we provide facilities for the women. Now it is actually the women, they should move forward and should make effort. Like in secular education, many women doing so nice, they're so excellent, they excel the men. Why not in Islamic studies they make the same effort? So that and people should encourage them, provide all the facilities for them, but at the same time the women should. But alhamdulillah, they are doing really. I've seen among my students some young girls, they are very, very good, very qualified, learned. Sometimes they know much more than the men. So there are alhamdulillah, but they need after that to get proper space, where they can teach, they can write. So we need more like that. So, there should be more women teachers, women muftiyas. Like, in Central Asia, from every house, women used to issue fatwa. Why not in our country? Why should not there be some women who give fatwa? They will know the women's condition more than anybody else. So that is next stage. We should make effort really. But women are qualified. Women basically are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not make a difference between men and women in the mind. The same mind. So women can do as best as men.
In your 43 volumes of biographies that you have written, did you find that the men actually encouraged the women, therefore they studied hadith and taught hadith?
Yeah, many people have been encouraging, but there also have been, all these women, people think they must be like angels. They're not like angels. They are like women. Some are divorced, some husband died, some are very poor, some are rich. Some are married, some are not even married. Zainab bintul Kamal, I mentioned, such a big woman, never got married. Karima al-Marwaziyya, the one who has the best copy of Sahih Bukhari, she never got married. Some have family problems, some divorce problem, and all these things are there. So, but still, they don't complain. They keep work hard. Like Zainab bintul Kamal in her house, day and night, hundreds of the people coming and studying. Tell me really, if your house, 10 guests come, you have problem of toilet and water and this and that, don't want. If a lady has every day so many people coming to her house to study with her, what will have a problem? And that way her students say, Kanat Saburatan, she was very patient. Imam Dhahabi says she was very, very patient. Not only that, really, she was very rich family, from rich family. So she had a house outside Damascus for the summer, where she got and retreat. Even the students used to follow her there. And they should return the books that she taught. We learned this book from her in her retreat when she's in there. To that, how patient they have been. They have all the difficulty problem. Sometimes the family encourage, sometimes family does not encourage. Like Imam Sam'ani, he studied with 69 women. He returned the Bible, 69 women. He mentions that I came to one of the city of Central Asia, Marw. I came there, and there was a famous lady. She was very Ummul Kiram. She was very learned in Hadith. I wanted to study with her. And her brother was my friend. We studied together. I asked her brother, I want to come to your sister learn. Her brother said to me, okay, come tomorrow. I came tomorrow. I said, no, she's not feeling well. Every time I went, he made excuse for me not to meet her. Until my days finished, I came back. I only got ijazah by correspondence. You see, the brother himself is muhaddith, but does not want anybody else to meet his sister. Though she learned, she's famous. So some people actually have problem. They don't want anybody to meet. Don't encourage it. So that I'm telling people. If we got 10,000 names, it means there must be more. Because women always have been forced to be hiding. So people don't want women to be known. So if after all that we still know some of them, and I know really I don't have all the names, because I mentioned Ibn Jah has got 400 teachers. I don't have all those names. Imam Muslim Ibrahim al-Farahidi got 70 teachers. I've only got 10 names or something like that. Most of them I don't have. So women's names are not known properly. So anyway, the women actually have much more difficulty than the men. If still they manage, then nobody has any excuse.
So just, I think, a repeat question. I would like to know what led to the demise of female scholarship, and what can we do to change this, especially when our male relatives are not supporting.
Yeah, I discussed really in the book, why decline happened, what the reason is, because it's a long story, and I don't think we have enough time really to go. If you read the book, you can see, and I've given a talk so much. Now the thing is, let's start. So let's actually, people, men and women, both make effort to make women also to study their religion, the Quran, the Sunnah, Arabic language, Hadith. Alhamdulillah, it is happening. So like in this mosque you are there, Maulana Mujahid is there. I think there must be. Otherwise you can request him that make class for the men and women both, make Alamiya program and this study, and if they want to specialize they can do. People want to help. So now alhamdulillah things are there. And if they don't help, the women should say one thing, that if the people at the mosque don't help us, we don't donate any money. Then you see. I went to Gujarat as an invited because there many women became murtad, left Islam. So people asked me to come, and I met those women. I saw the mosque there, 700-year-old and 800-year-olds. When I went to some mosques, actually built by women. Women are the one who made the mosque. And some mosque, most mosques, they have got a place called Zanana, the place for the ladies. So when they built 700 years back, they actually thought about the women. They made a place for the lady in the mosque, and next to the imam, not somewhere, next to the mimbar, they make place for the lady, and now women are not allowed. The mosque is built by women. The mosque has got a place, Zanana, 700-year-old or something like that. Now they are not allowed. Just imagine really how we have become backward. Our ancestors in the past were much more learned. Ibn Battuta has written that he came to India, South India, one of the villages he mentioned. He said there he has seen 13 madrasas for the girls only. For the girls. 700 years back. Ibn Battuta came 750 something in India. So it's nearly 700 years. In a village he got 13 madrasas only for the women. We become more backward now.
Someone asked, if a woman only has the capacity to be a mother and teach her children, is this sufficient to go to a high level of Jannah? Or should we strive to be scholars too?
Oh, Jannah is a different matter really. We don't say that you become muhaddith, you go to Jannah. So that's another question. Studying and learning is means. The real thing is the ibadah of Allah to please Him. Somebody could be among the audience who does not know any hadith, go to paradise before us, before all the imams. This is another matter really. Sincerity, worship. A woman is a mother. Yeah, certainly she can go to paradise before many, many men. Shaykh Akram Nadwi, rahmullah ta'ala, in India, if you are Indian subcontinent, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, if you ask people who are the most important saint, Shaykh, in Indian history, so he is a Shaykh Nizamuddin Awliya. Everybody is wali, he is Awliya. See, Jama, plural. He died in the year 725. He was born as an orphan. So he did not have father. The mother was very poor. And the mother used to work in the house, sewing or something, to get some money, bring some food and feed her son, Nizamuddin. But sometimes she did not get anything. So that day she would say to Nizamuddin that, oh my son, today we are guests of Allah. Meaning there is no food. So we are going to sleep without eating. That we should say. When she said that we are guests of Allah, it means there is no food. So Shaykh Nizamuddin said that, I love this sentence so much from my mother. So if for a few days we had food, I would ask my mother, oh my mom, when we are going next to be guest of Allah. Tell me this lady is much better than us. So much. And that's why she was able to make somebody like Nizam Awliya. No father. Actually in the history of Islam, many women, they actually made their sons much better than men can do. Imam Hanifa was not really raised by his his mother. Imam Malik by the mother, was an orphan. Imam Shafi actually was born an orphan. Ahmad Hanbal was an orphan. Father was not there. Imam Bukhari was an orphan. His mother took him everywhere. These 5 great people in Islam, they have been raised by their mothers. Tell me now, if Imam Hanifa get any reward, it will be shared by his mother. She will get the same reward. Bukhari gets all the rewards. People read his book. His mother gets there. So, this is another matter really. People can go to paradise without writing any book or reading anything. Somebody could be illiterate and does not know anything. Go to paradise before all the ulama. We don't know this thing.
Okay, go ahead.
It's the same question that the previous brother asked about how did we used to seek knowledge in those days? So here we got access to knowledge, it's easy to travel. In those days, how did we used to travel with the mahram, or how was it for them?
About traveling, there is not one opinion only. There are more than one opinion. Hanafi and Hanbali madhab, the women are not allowed to travel at long distance without her husband or mahram or father. So they must. It does not mean to stop the women. I always say, if you are a Hanafi madhab, it means you have to spend double ticket. Your daughter wants to go to learn in Saudi Arabia, you have to buy 2 tickets, one for her, one for yourself. Having mahram does not mean to stop her. It means to encourage her, you go support. But Imam Shafi and other people say, no, women can travel, but if there's a group of the women and some got mahram, so that's fine. So some women do travel. Some people used to say if women are safe and they can then go. The Prophet said a time will come where a woman will travel from long distance to Medina and she will not fear anybody other than Allah. So if it is safe and something like that, people will give fatwa. Anyway, in those days, so either some people will travel with her or their group of the women, they travel. Some people have mahram, some women don't have mahram, they go. Some women said to Aisha that somebody saying that women are not allowed to travel with her mahram. So Aisha became angry. She said, does everybody have mahram? Do you have a mahram? So Aisha's opinion was, no, women can go without mahram. And not one opinion. People think there's only one opinion. No, there's more than one opinion. Even now there are more than one opinion. Even those days, Sahaba, among Sahaba, there used to be more than one opinion. Aisha's fatwa was, women can travel without mahram.
Yes, go ahead.
I wanted to ask, with regards to female scholarship, were any books written, any commentaries of Hadith?
By the women?
Yes, and have they been preserved and are they available?
Yeah, the women actually, I don't know much have written about it. They have been teaching, women being mother, teaching, so many things. But anyway, writing books. In my book, I've got nearly 100 books, either written by the women or written for them. Not actually they wrote, somebody. So there are hundreds of books, but not so many. Some books on philosophy, some logic, some books on Hadith. Actually, there was a commentary written by one of the daughter of Aurangzeb. Still, people say somewhere she wrote a commentary on the Quran. So there have been some effort, but not as many as the men have done. Because the men have more time, they don't cook any food, they don't raise the children, they leave all the duties to their wives. So they get the reward, the women get the reward. Women, if men support the women same way as the women support, yeah, there could be some women author. Yeah, so there are not many great women in that field.
Yes, go ahead, Zain.
Are there any particular books that stood out for you when you were doing your research for Muhammad?
What any particular book?
Were there any particular books which stood out to you when you were conducting your research?
For sources, for information.
Yes.
There are many really, but like one of them is the Tariq Dimashq by Ibn Asakir. The huge number of the women are mentioned there. Tariq Baghdad, and many manuscripts. Imam Zahabi's books have got a lot of information. So actually in the past, people used to write about the women as well. Now actually people don't know about the women. But if you read those books, when they mention the teachers, they also mention female teachers. In Bukhari, you get all these men and women together. They are there. Men are from the women are from the men. So how they must be studying somewhere. They are not related. It means women used to be famous teaching, men coming learning from different places. People come and learn from them. So there used to be like Fatima bint al-Mundhir, she's a tabi'iyya, teacher in Medina. Her husband Hisham, he narrates her from her. Husband is student of the wife. And he does not hide his name. He narrates, his hadiths are in Muwatta, Bukhari, Muslim. One of the best hadiths of Asma ibn Abi Bakr is from Hisham, from his wife Fatima, and Fatima from her grandmother Asma. So, there are women and also people of Medina. Muhammad Ishaq, the author of Maghazi, he also is a student of Fatima. But Hisham did not like that somebody mentions his wife's name and this and that. He was very upset that how can he learn from my wife? He never has seen her and this thing and that. That is what we say. We study with so many women. So why not Ishaq? He studied with your wife. Maybe you did not know. Maybe before you got married. It could be any place you don't know, but you got married. So, this, I've been people actually meeting and mixing. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to take one or two questions and that's it. Apologies to the sisters, there were loads of questions coming, but to be honest with you, they are repeated, most of them. Sheikh have already answered them, so I'm not going to ask you all these questions. Sheikh, there's one particular question, someone's not happy with your answer. She's a bit upset with you.
Well,
because you said that men and women are doing tawaf in the same place, but classrooms, you could segregate it. You could have two classrooms. So female in one classroom and male in one classroom. So she's saying that that's not a good answer for me.
No thing, people don't understand really. I said to the people, don't, harm the women. Let them study. If you are not happy that they sit together with the men, at least if you want to bury, even make bury, but let them to study. So that's my answer to the people. I don't have no problem. But people who arrange my classes, they are organized. They have their own priorities. But nowadays, actually, people don't do really. Now, they say here in Mawla Mujahid did not make any barrier. In Ibrahim College, they used to make a barrier. Now, I don't know if it's still there or not. So some people make. We don't mind really. If they study together, that's fine. Main thing is that they should learn. But true, really, that the barrier thing is unnecessary. Thing really, they come together and in the classroom they sit separately. It just doesn't make any sense. They can meet anywhere. I don't understand what we think about the classroom. Classroom is studying and learning. They learn from each other. Same men and women, they meet everywhere. I found it disturbing in Leicester. You go with your wife. Is she your wife? Now you say to her, you can't come to the mosque, can't go to the mosque. You just get me in front of her. She is with him all the time. Now in the masjid, she can't be there. It doesn't make any sense in any of those things. That's what we do really. Men and women, they do shopping together, they travel together, they do all the things together. When they come to the masjid, they can't be there. If you have any sunnah, that's fine, but there's no sunnah. Sunnah is against it.
Sheikh, what advice would you give to all the mothers how to raise the children in this tough time?
Yeah, this is really not very easy to, explain so quickly. I've been teaching courses how to raise the children, but I will just summarize the whole thing in two sentences. for everybody, for men, women, for teachers and students. That is a summary of the Quranic way of teaching and the Sunnah. The way basically in Islam is give the people space and then teach them. Or second, other way to say, make them happy and make them good. If you have children, make them happy. Food nicely, take them around, nice clothes, all those things. But also make them good. Don't just do one thing. You are a father, make your children happy. Whatever capacity, whatever you have got money, spend on them nicely, not wasting money. But also don't forget that you need to also make them good. Then they study, they learn, they become pious, they come to the mosque. Both people should be given space. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala given people space means they can use everything. They feel really like they're at home. They become happy. Sometimes they disobey. Sometimes they do mistake. So I always teach people, don't take away from the people a right of going wrong. Going wrong is a fundamental right of every human being. Allah will not take away. If your children go wrong, don't worry. They have got right to go wrong. Then they will learn. If your students go wrong, don't worry. One day they will come back good. Yaqub al-Islam, his children were so wrong. But he is still keeping them in the same house. One day they become good. So don't lose your patience. If a child does not behave properly, don't worry. A lady said to me in Manchester, from Syria, that her son was very good. When he was in the high school, in the very good prayer, etikaf, and this and that. And now he went to the college and university, he became atheist, has no Islam. She was very worried. So I said, were you tough on him? She said, yeah, I want to ask him to pray and all those things. So I said, this is the problem. Because he sees the people free, no prayer, no fasting. I think the best thing is leave Islam. Then you come nice, then you are free. So I said, okay, next time your son comes to house, say to him one thing. Oh, my son, you can be Muslim without prayer, without fasting, without zakat, without hajj. Because the Prophet said, anybody who says La ilaha illallah, they will enter to paradise. Just say La ilaha illallah. Don't worry, don't pray, don't worry. Don't fast, nothing. Just say La ilaha illallah. You will be go to paradise. I said to her, just say like that. She said, then next time she said to me, my son has gone for Umrah. I said, what happened? He said, when I said to her that you be Muslim with just La ilaha, he became very happy. And then burden is gone, pressure is gone. Now from himself he starts thinking to be pious and good. And when you put a burden, sometimes people want to resist really. So that's why the Prophet said, if somebody said La ilaha illallah, they'll go to paradise. Why? He said to encourage everybody. So don't worry if sometimes the children don't do as good as you want. Don't worry because they have got a society different from our society. Sometimes they will misbehave. Sometimes they will not do the prayer. But always have good hope. I will be nice with them. One day they will come back, inshallah. So remember these two things. Make your children happy and make them good. Give them space and teach them.
Okay, Brother Shafi is here. And he's saying not to take any more questions because the food's getting cold. Okay, so come, brother. I'll take your last question, brother.
I was going to ask what your opinion is on organizations nowadays banning women from education. For example, the Taliban in Afghanistan.
Taliban one, yeah.
Same message for everybody. It's a misunderstanding of Islamic teaching. We actually, what happened, our culture became more important than religion. Yes. Like many people from India and Pakistan, they force their daughters to marry somewhere where they like. They don't allow the daughters to choose anybody. Sometimes because culture. The people think culture is more important than the religion. We are slaves of Allah. Fathers, parents don't have absolute right over their children. No. They have limited rights. Everybody got, even the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the final messenger, he has got limits. He's not unlimited obedience. You are not, that we have to obey him unconditionally. No, there's conditions. Only Allah has absolute power to be obeyed. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So people should behave properly. If you got a power, respect the women. That I always say, the real problem of Muslim society is they don't respect the women. That's the real problem. Your son goes for study, not your daughter, because you have no respect for her. To respect, they're human being. And on the day of judgment, Allah will ask, the Quran said, وَإِذَا الْمَوْءُودَةُ سُئِلَتْ بِأَيِّ ذَنْبٍ قُتِلَتْ. If people kill a girl, they will be questioned. So if people actually don't let a girl to study, it is like killing. Because human being is by the mind. If they don't study, they kill. On the day of judgment, they will be questioned, why do you stop them from learning? So we have duty to teach everybody.
This is the last question from the sisters. It's quite interesting one, Sheikh, saying that, can you please elaborate on the hadith of naqisat al-aql? Are hadith narrated by women less authentic than men because of women are deficiency in intellect?
You know, thing really, this hadith I explained so many times, but every time I take 1 hour. So now food is getting cold. But a simple matter is that this hadith does not mean what people think. Otherwise, muhaddithin would have said, if hadith come from the women, we don't accept because they have deficiency. No. Hadith from the women have same authority, Actually, sometimes they prefer hadith of the women because it's better. You know, all the Hanafi people, how many rakah you pray Sunnah and Zuhr? 4. And men narrators are, Abdullah Umar narrates, Bukhari, Muslim, more authentic hadith, the Prophet used to pray 2 rakah before Zuhr. Abdullah Umar said 10 rakah, he remembers. Ladies say no, he used to pray 12 rakah. Habib and other people. Hanafi people say women know about the prayer more than the men because the Prophet used to do Sunnah at home. You see, they prefer women's narration over men. If men have been biased for the men, then should never do. So okay, at least they say, we know woman is one woman, we need 2 women. Nobody said. Actually, in the Quranic, when li'an is happening, witness for 5, witness for men, from women, same thing really. When men pray 4 rakah, does Allah ask that women should pray 8 rakah because they are half of the men? Same prayer, same fasting. Do the women have to fast 2 months? No, 1 month. Same Hajj, same Umrah, everything same. Something different for a reason. And that I explained so many times, but now we don't have time because everybody waiting for the food. So stop it here.
This is not a question, but this is from the women, Sheikh. They're saying that truly what you have done is an amazing research. And this is honestly elevating the status of the women. And it's an incredible work what you have done. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you.
I don't want to praise myself. Few times it happened I went to America and many women ladies came. And they say hundreds of the women became murtad. Since you wrote the book, many of them have come back. Alhamdulillah. So because they now realize really it is not Islam problem in the Muslim society. Women in Islam have a lot of respect. So the hundreds of the women, they said, they became, again, I went to Gujarat. All these women, they praise the murtad. I met them and I explained to them, they're so happy. They said, no alim comes to explain to us. We are fine. We love Islam. We like Islam. So you make them murtad. Why? Because you insult them. But if you respect them, people love respect.
Jazakumullah khair. I'm not going to take any more questions, everybody. But the Shafi said the pieces are getting cold, so don't delay anyone. A few announcements, inshallah, before that. As you heard, please don't leave. We have ordered food for everyone, inshallah ta'ala. I'm going to ask the sisters to go upstairs in the sisters area, inshallah ta'ala. One more thing, although alhamdulillah our masjid were one of the very first people to get hold of Sheikh's book, alhamdulillah. As you know, we are building a library upstairs for everybody. Inshallah, it's supposed to be ready by January and February, but it's taking a bit time. Inshallah, by the end of this year, it's going to be open for everyone. We have Arabic books, English books as well. And inshallah, we're going to ask everybody, we'll create a library time for everyone. So we have all of Sheikh's books, alhamdulillah, it's all 43 volumes. It costs £650. What you could do, inshallah, any of the brothers or sisters here, you could buy a copy like this and give it to a madrasa. Give it to a madrasa. This could be your sadaqah jariyah, inshallah. Give it to, for example, let's say, Q Iman or Ibrahim College or any of the madrasa that you know. That would be a wonderful thing to do because Shaykh has taken a lot of time, over 16 years, Shaykh has taken to write this. And he traveled around the world, by the way. No one paid him anything. With his own money, he went to different libraries, found very rare manuscripts to write all this in beautiful Arabic. Like I said to you, I read 1 volume and I was glued to it. And that's why, I don't have all the first volume is in my office actually, still. It is amazing. It's very beautiful work, and it's not just the biography. There's so much to learn as well. So I would like to say to you, if someone could hear, inshallah, that I could do this, speak to me, inshallah, buy the whole 43 volumes and give it to a madrasa, and then many brothers and sisters, they will read, and you will get all the reward as well. The second announcement I would like to make is that the Sheikh's, some of his publication, alhamdulillah, is at the back of the room. Some of his publications are here. Anyone wants to buy, inshallah, that I could buy his books. This will be at the back of the room. When you have your food, you will see the books there as well. once again, if I could ask the sisters, if you could now kindly go to the sisters area, and there will be sisters upstairs, they will be serving food to you. And brothers remain seated, inshallah. When the sisters, they go upstairs, then we'll go to the rear room, and we will be served just pizzas, yeah? Chips, chicken, pizzas, everything, mashallah, Shafi has ordered. And the ulama, the request of all the ulama and tullab al-ilm, those of you who are here, we're going to have a small maqra with Shaykh, inshallah, upstairs. So I will take you in 5-10 minutes, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. This is only for those who speak Arabic, read Arabic, and those who are studying Hadith. Jazakumullah khairan.